Hey, you tourists, it's your boy Domination. This is Back in the Base. It's Chuck the Deuce. It's how we do text, baby. The only place, all the 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 place go get it. 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 It's right back in basic. Chuck the Deuce. It's how we do text, baby. Man, that was back. You know what it is, know this, know this, and it is. Real men rise up, fake men rise down. Real women rise up, fake women rise down. Right to where preach on. And today's topic I'm talking about is and today's topic I want to talk about. Remember what we would talk about when you hear these certain phrases and certain catch a phrase and many phrases that you hear about and things you don't hear about and what and words take up some meaning and certain meanings of the words. But let's talk about this. This term. When you hear this a lot, especially my folks will use the term African American. African American to Afro American and Black Americans. Let's read this, shall we? Okay, African American as preferred as Black American or Afro American. It's a ethnicity group. It's of the citizen as are relatives of United States, which is total as a part of the ancestry for many of the native population of Sub-Saharan Africa. Sub-Saharan Africa, and the term has also been used. The term may be also been used instead the only individually who are descendants from African slave as a compound and ejected as the term is Oppenheimer as African American. African American is as concept as the second largest racial and the ethnicity minority in the United States. Most African American are Western. Most African American are West and Pacific African descent and are descendants from of slave and blacks with in the bound of the presented of the United States. However, as immigrants from African to Caribbean, Pacific America, and South American nation, and their descendants may or may not identify with those terms. The African American history is started in 16th centuries as with African American forced to take into Spanish and English colonies in North America as slaves. As the founder of the United States, black people will continue to be enslaved and treated inferior. In these circumstances, with the charge body is reconciled and the taps of the black community and part of into the great military conflict of the United States and eliminate racial separation with racial separation and the civil rights movement in 2008. Barack Obama be the first to be elected as president of the United States. When you hear that term African American, when you hear that phrase, where does that term came from? A lot of people don't know that. The term African American. Okay, let's go to this because this is what it says. It's so much long, but if you look at all this, that they try to say black community benefit of affirmative action. Come on, the only affirmative action to get is certain white brothers and sisters, and abortion killed by abortion been killed from black women not have getting for try their hardest the black women stop having kids out of wedlock. But what it does is for create no more children out of a woman, a black woman, thanks to eugenics. Come on now. All this stuff, the Nation of Islam and the Mooners Science Temple of America, they full of shit. And the Black Israelites and all of them, they use Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. And Ebola is just another word for slinging American English and pronunciation of words, but it's a pronunciation of no words for between the correct English and incorrect no English. That's all it is, Ebo. Like this whole thing. And this guy sold BET out, man. Robert L. Johnson, in the former of USA President George Bush, man. And the soul food is basically like, so given for love, for soul for love, for they don't have no, there's no gathering that what they don't have to earn or what they have to maintain the struggle, but love is keeping them together. That's what soul food is about. But basically, black community eat leftovers. My people eat leftovers. And when found by music, hip hop, R&B, funk, rock and roll, soul, blues, and blues and doo-wop and barbershop and ragtime and bluegrass and jazz and gospel and country and techno, all the stuff that you would think that our people created this type of stuff. And Martin Luther King was a great man. But I'm gonna tell you something else, man. That term Jim Crow. When you look at that term Jim Crow is segregated but equal. Basically, they're trying to keep whites and blacks separated from each other for they won't destroy each other's races. That's what it is. And civil rights movement is basically how I don't know if it's true or not. They use these Zionist Jews to spy on black people. I really do think so. Not the real Jews, but fake Jews. Because there's some good, honest, careful and a careful heart Jews out there, but it's the Zionists. But see, that's the difference. And that's what they take the word Nazi came from. And Marcus Garvey and Webb, the Douglas, whatever his name is, and all this other stuff, man. They need to start telling people the truth. See this intermixing and the history of the history of race mixing between black and white people are taboo in the United States with the so-called anti-integration laws, and to branch of black and whites to marry and having sex, and which are published in the colonization American and early in at the 1691 as taboo along white Americans and surrounded white and black relation can be as the history is a circumstance of the progress and racial separation of African American in history is history. David and Burns. David has noticed that the racial mixture is that perhaps is during slavery. Okay, as requested as the attitude by the planet class as to the low class white males by the David is insteadly that is recommended as the evidence that many of the slave owners and son of the slave owners and is overseas and taking the slave take overseas to take the black mistresses and effectively rape the wives and daughters of the slave families, and a favors example that the Thomas Jefferson mistress and Shedda hates. Yeah, that's true. And Harvard University as history as Harry Louis Gates. Fuck Harry Louis Gates Jr. This guy got arrested for a racial incident by the police, and he ain't telling the truth where we really come from. And written in 2009, an African American as a racial mix and mulatto people is deeply and surrounded. So, for example, as the devil in popular in critical claim, as Chinese man is married an African American woman and have position as the total marriage numbers to the few Chinese American woman being in the United States, and African slaves as the descendants that also have a history of cultural exchange and interracial and with the Native Americans. And also they do not even necessarily as decent a social and a cultural into the lots of will to Native people. There is also included in interracial and offspring between non-Spanish black and the Spanish of any race, including between Puerto Ricans and African American and American born blacks. Racial mixing marriages has been included in the exception in the United States to the civil rights movement and up to the present day as a and, and, improvement into the national opinion and polls and has been rise from 36% in 1978 to 48% into 1991, to 65% in 2002, and 77% in 2007. Scientific is and it's absolutely is enduring that is encouragement of African American and perhaps is about 14 and 17.7 of ancestry from Europeans. I already know that, man. Experience, man. I already know about this, man, because if you look at this up, here it is. And these terms no longer, and these the terms is no longer is the terms are no longer in common use. The term mulatto and color is wise until the second of the quarter of 20th centuries, which is the clarified out mode as the general, but giving away the term Negro by into the 1940s and 1940s until the comment is was capitalized Negro, but by the mid 1960s, by the as declared of it as the is passionate as the parliament by the in the end of the 20th century, Negro has been come and be classified as perhaps there was in perhaps is used and preferred as the child, and the term is and barely used by the young black people and reminded of the using by any color any by any older African American who are grown up in the term and a part in the southern U.S. And the term Negro is a Spanish and Portuguese is word of the color black. And the region in Latin America where is the language as spoken Negro as preferred is a site but is a different from the Negro in English is a normal used without the logic and relatable for black people. Many of it is debatable as this insult the term, and many of the common word nigger as has been unacceptable and natural encouragement before in the end of the 20th century. Let me tell you something, man. Let me show you where the term Africa comes from. Y'all wouldn't believe this. Now, I said this before. Here's the guy right here. That's where the term Africa comes from this guy right here. That's what this term comes from this guy right here. Now, I don't know if it's come from this guy or it's come from that guy. Okay, when he called Africa, and I'm going to show you why he called it the term Africa. He called the term Africa because he thought it was getting away from the horrors of Out of the Cold of Europe or something like that. I'm trying to find it somewhere. It's somewhere around here. But if it's not there, I will tell you. When he said the term Africa, Africa is this term that people need to look up that term Africa because A lot of people don't know what the term Africa means. They don't know what it means. They don't know where it came from. They don't know how it really actually got there. See, European as in the exception of the city by the time as Leo in visit, it was a center of a busy trade of carrying on by the trade of African product, gold, painted painted cotton and slaves in the Islamic books. There is nothing known of Leo's later life. So I'm trying to find it because the term African American. Look at this, man. A lot of people don't even know this name after come from this man, Leo Africans. African. That term. This term is come from. Let's go look at the term Africa because people need to look this up, man. People need to look this up when they hear the term Africa. Okay, let's see. All right, Africa is the second larger. There's the second larger and the second most population continent by the 30.2 million km and 11.7 million SG MI, including as ejected as the islands and the cover and 6% of the Earth total in subspace areas, and the 20.4% of the total as the total area at the total land area, which is 1.1 billion people as of the year 2003, and in the amount for the about 15% of the world world human population, and the continent is surrounded by these Mediterranean Sea to the north by the and it says in the cause by the both the cause and the Red Sea right along and the Pacific and Pin to the northeastern and India Ocean to the southeast, and the Pacific Ocean to the west. The continent included is the Mediterranean, and the firmament as the arbitrary and the habit of 54 full recognized of the sub 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 region state and sub-region state in the countries and 9 terrorists and 2 in fact 2 independent states with the limits or no regulation, as Africa population is the youngest and around of all the continents, and 50% of Africa are 19 years old or younger, and 7 is the Africa largest country by the area, and Nigeria is the largest population in Africa and part of the sub-eastern Africa, while accepted as the part as the or origin of human being, and the human setting as the included as the great apes, as the evidence as discovered in the early humanoid, and the ancestor as the later as one that has been dated to around 7 million years ago, and included in sub-Indians and bodies, and Australia the Africans as everybody is, and Homo Gregorian and H and Hobbes and H Sevius, which the early Homo sapien, the modern humans, and founded in Ethiopia is been dated and incarcerated to 200 years ago to Africa and is cultivated into equatorial and colonized in the numbers and Guanamate areas. It is the only continent to the stretch from the north of temperament to south of temperature zone. When you look at the term Africa, let's find the term Africa. Where does term Africa come from? Af was a Latin word is used to refer as from the and the Cardamis, which is enduring in North Africa in the modern Tunisian and has been seen to original to refer as the native Ethiopian tribe. However, since it turns into a biographer for discuss that the name is actually connected as the phenomenon as far as and does, but in a 1981 and happened the whole happiness has been declared as estimate that is a scene that from the Barberment as is referred as a popular environment, and the cave is referred as the to cave dwarf. Yep, the same word has been found, and the name of the Barberment of Irene to the Irene intertrinity as a barber tribe from the originally from Yavrin as also in iframe into in the northwestern Libya. See, this is why they want to control Libya so much. And under the Roman rule, and the Carcos become the capital of Africa providing, which is included in the coast of a part of multiple Libya and the Latin itself. I read, and sometimes it could be used to denotes as the land as the cardinal is recorded by as used as Julius Caesar and later as the Muslim kingdom as ever and modern identity as the also as referred the name that it is adamant to the ancient Roman. Africa is laid to the western of Egypt, while Asia is referred as an element and the land to the east. Defined of the line of was drawn to the two, and contributed by the graphic pyramid, but 85 165 AD, and the clear and it is Alisman as right along by Prentice Manson to make as a lot of it as the Sud and the Red Sea at the boundary between Asia and Africa, as the Europeans to come to understand as the original expectedly of the of comment that the idea that Africa expected with their acknowledgement. See, that term Africa, Africa is come from the Roman general defeated of the general god African Canis defeated Hector. I mean, that's what this term come from, and I'm grateful that my ancestors is Homo sapiens. And this is what it says right here. As the during the years of the Homo sapiens and Homo sapiens as before as absent is 150 to 100 years ago in Africa, and the Pacific was in the part population by the group as the hungers or gatherers that the first modern human left Africa and populate of the rest of the global during out of Africa immigrate and dated to and cultivate about 55 years ago, and it acts Exodus that the Damn, I'm just kind of a little sleepy, but Exodus is the continent and entered it along a bearable movement and over the Red Sea during the Strait of the Caviar and the end of Cargo and or the island as a Susan in Egypt. Man, you can look this up, man. You can look this up. You can look this up. It's during by the Ice Age and all this other stuff. And was found in Ethiopia, how they found the Lucy and the Basham front skull of bone and the crop and ejected from Egypt and North Africa and Nubian and in Egypt dated from the around 500 BC has been been at excavation in Western Africa and further as they translate to separated trade and the network has been published by this date. You know, this is where the original money came from and stuff like that. This is what the term Africa comes from. This is where this term. You can look this up yourself, and it says all this by the actual name. The actual name. A lot. You know the sad part. A lot of people don't even know that ancient Greeks and Romans in the 33, I mean 33, 132 BC, and Alistair the Great welcome to the library as the Persian as they erupted in Egypt and found Alice in Egypt, which had been perhaps as the capitalist of the Parliament dynasty after his death. So that's what they trying to say. He traveled around and trying to recapture of into his accomplishment over there. But some say he never even been over there in Africa. He was been somewhere else. He went far on the way from up north, up somewhere. You know, you never know about this. People need to look this stuff up, man. In the great Zimbabwe, right here, great is see Ben we yeah that's a great wall of history. I believe blacks probably built that, but they will never say that. But anyway, there's a real reason why that Africa they want to control that place in the first place. And some Bushmen, those are the original Aboriginals. These people, these folks, man. And I believe Caucasoid, Caucasian tribe are the original Anathols. Now I believe so because you got to look at this. These people, you know, people just ain't come out of nowhere, man. They ain't just come out of nowhere. You know, it's been grateful. You can look this up for yourself because it says all this. The term Africa and where does it come from? When you call yourself African American, basically you're a black American. You're basically we're a conquered people. If we keep saying we're African American, that's for basically that you're bleach or you palement of your color. Because if white people lost their re-in-depth and reduction of their color and hidden by the ice age and ways that making it as an invadment to a way that they got to survive in the cold, black people lost their skin complexion when they stand stranded in the sun so long they start peeling themselves and start peeling white. So that's why some of our women wearing these tacked up wigs and these fake certain color eyelids trying to look more like European. They've been colonized and been colored and humanized. I see why they're trying to look for past to be a European and trying to make it in the white world. And that explains why Caucasian tanning their skin because they trying to look more part of black to get a black pass to trying to strive to maintain to trying to make it out of the black world. So that explains a lot. When you call yourself African American, basically you're saying you're a blacked out American. You're a conquered people. That's what you're saying. Black Americans are the Negroes. They the real indigenous people of this land. But Martin Luther King said this 100 years later, the colored Negro and being colored access to quarter American society and being exiled in his own land. This is why Martin Luther King said, "You being exiled in your own land. This is our own land, and we're being exiled because of that." This is why they don't want some of my people to read. The reason why they don't want to read because we're gonna find out who we discover what we really self, who we really is. They don't want that. So that's a real reason why they don't want black community to read. They don't want my folks to read. Read, people, read. It's very important. You have to know. I'm an aboriginal. I'm an American. There's a real reason. We're the real people of America in this world. Just like Europeans, just like Asian and everybody else. These other races come from us, just like we try to come. They would never come out of us. They couldn't make it without them. Basically, what I'm trying to say, we come out from each other. So that's a real reason. So if we say African American, that's white Americans or white Africans. Asians are Asian Africans. In Arab is Arab African Americans. So how can we the only ones always say we're African Americans, but we got a connection to bloodline where actual really humanity was started from, and since the Adam and Eve, what slavery started in the first place when Adam was molesting his own grandchildren and put the part the fact put the part of the from the frame blame on him, but he witnessed his own grandfather molest his son. His grandfather molest his own grandson, but they put the frame on put the frame on him. This is why in the Bible said God blessed him because he not to permit he didn't did. It was Noah was the one molesting cavemen. And after he wake up the wine in the tent and then find out what his young son done to him and curse UK and make him serve to the rest of his life to his uncles, to Chapet and Sham. So that explains why that the slavery was started in the first place. Is it really true that white people were slaves? Because there was in the early days that white people were actually were dark tainted black, but somehow they stranded in the cold in the cold cave so long they start peeling and start turning white. That explains why my people they must be stranded out of the African theory and stranded and out of the and stranded on the adventures on the wall. They must have stand in the sun so long they start peeling and start went from black to white. So you got to ask yourself a question. Because when you call yourself African American, basically you're saying you're a conquered American. You know that's what you bleach. You're pale. Look it up. When you call yourself Black American, basically you're the indigenous people of this land. You're the color crop. This is why when the actual money in the in American currency money, they put blacks in the money, put my people in the money. They the real indigenous people of this land. Before anyone else. There's everybody else is indigenous, but they're my people the indigenous. So you gotta ask yourself a question. Are you African American? Are you Black American? Or are you just Americans? Because we're all Americans. Because Americans is nothing but aboriginals. We're all originals. But the thing is, every humanity starts from Africa somewhere. Without that, it wouldn't be no gold. It wouldn't be no diamond. It wouldn't be cotton. It wouldn't be nothing without Africa. Why you think they bring this actual diseasement of this Ebola to want to control Africa? They knew that Africa is the original humanity. It starts from there, from all the way to India, to Australia, to Asia, then Europe, to South America, to North America. People know this. They don't want people to know this. You have to know this. If this, I send this out from my folks because they got to know this. There's a real reason why they hate us. There's a real reason why they slave our asses, because the original term slavery is come from Slavic people. That's from the original slave were Europeans. They were slaves by somebody, someone. But and then you got to ask yourself that Jerry Lee Hoover and Hitler, they both got black African ancestries. I don't care if people get mad at me all you want, but it's true. Look at Malcolm. Malcolm got some European ancestry, and so is Mr. Farrakhan. How can people say they hate another color, but you part of that same color? Look at Obama. Yes, he's a black man, but he got the certain of talking tone like a European like. You cannot tell me. My people act just like Caucasian. Now you got Caucasian act just like blacks. So what does that tell you? And another thing, I get tired of whites always say white is not a color. If white is not a color, what is it then? Oh, you think it's you're Aryan, and Aryan nothing but mixed with Turks. Come on, because they've been enslaved by British. That's the only reason why. If it ain't Turks, it been enslaved by British. One of the two. You cannot tell me why. Because if you're not come from this part of certain land, and the reason why they say South America, they're basically believe of the tribe of Japad. I mean, not the tribe of Japad. They believe of the tribe of Japaz. Mr. Farrakhan said this a lot of times, like 600 trillion years ago, with this science named, this black science, beta, something like that, saying that black people are the real people from Egypt. All black people are from Egypt. Then did Mr. Farrakhan need to ask me this? Then why is it said, I am the Lord of two lands, black land and red land? Why is it that? It did not say, I'm the Lord of one land, black land. It did not say that. I am the Lord of two lands, black land and red land. Black and European. To mix with Arabs, European, and black. So how can that's between Middle East, European, and black, African? You can look this stuff up. That explains everything what's going on. That explains why the damn Chinese and Japanese and Britain people fighting when they was conquered over there in China by the Japanese people, and how the Japanese being enslaved by the Americans, and how Americans been enslaved the British, and British been enslaved by the Greeks, and Greeks been enslaved by the Romans, and Romans enslaved by their own people. So what does that tell you? Even Africans been enslaved by their own people, slave European, and Europeans do the same thing. They slave their own people and slave other people. Because slavery is nothing but a real enslavement of the mind. That's all it is. It's more to deepen the skin color. So understand this. Know who you are, know where you stand, and know your cessation, know where you, in the cessation that you know in this world. All right? And that's all I got to say. Stay who you are and be proud of who you are. And that's what made for who you are and what you are, not what you are. And that's all I got to say about that. It's your boy Domination. This is Back in the Base. And y'all going to do this is how we do text, baby. Until next time. All right? All right. Peace. And I'm